All right, guys, so we are now picking up from where we left off on the last video where we'll be talking about the proceeds from issuing a bond. And as I mentioned before, that those proceeds from issuing a bond to the public, to investors, depends on the face amount, the interest rate, and the market rate of interest of similar bonds. So for a second, I just want to explain that concept so you have a better understanding of that. So with that, let's take, for instance, we are Amazon, right? So hopefully I don't get sued or anything. And then we have this other thing called the market. Now, who is the market? The market is them. It's all the other people that's also issuing bonds, okay? So let's say, for instance, we are issuing a bond in the amount of, say, $800,000. Okay, and so we're gonna look at the market, and let's say them being everybody else, like a Uber, Lyft, AT&T, Pepsi, right? Them over there. And so let's say, for instance, they are also issuing a bond in the amount of $800,000, right? Now, we're trying to maybe acquire our new organization, such as Whole Foods, right? And so what we're trying to do, so Whole Foods, if I can write out Whole Foods, if it works. Anyways, all right, so we're trying to, WF maybe, yeah. We're trying to acquire Whole Foods, right? And so the way we're going to do this or think about this is we're issuing this bond and we're going to say, hey, well, we're going to pay an interest rate of, say, 10%. Right? And then them, as in everybody else in the market that's offering similar bonds, they're going to issue it 800,000 as well, but their interest rate is going to be, say, I don't know, 12%. Okay. Now before we look at Amazon, because we're reporting on behalf of Amazon, right? Before we look at Amazon and things of that matter, if you are an investor, right? And however an investor looks, well, actually, no investor has a certain look, right? We can all be investors. But you're an investor, right? And you have 800,000, or you have a mutual fund or something like that, a hedge fund that you want to invest in. And so you're standing here and you're trying to decide, hey, I can't draw. So you're trying to decide what is the best investment, what's the best investment for me, right? And that's what we're looking at right now. We want to know, hey, what makes sense for me as an investor? So think about that. So which one are you going to go with? They're both at $800,000. Maybe they're all reputable companies, so that's not in question. None of them will maybe default. That's what we're hoping on. So if you're an investor, which one you're going to go with? Option A or option B? Okay. So hopefully you look through this and you said, I'm going to go with option number B, option letter B. Why? Well, option B is a better choice because the interest rate, the rate of interest on my investment is a lot higher than 10%, right? So as a result, you as an investor and all the other investors are going to flock toward this market, them, right? Because again, the interest rate is higher on your bond. Now, let's talk about Amazon. That doesn't take away from the fact that Amazon still needs $800,000 to acquire the Whole Foods that they want to buy, right? So now they realize that, oh man, I'm sad. I still need this money. But what they're probably gonna say now is, okay, well, our bond is not at the highest interest rate in the market. So therefore, what I'm gonna have to do now is I'm gonna have to offer this bond at a discount. Okay. And so they're gonna say, okay, if I want investors to start flocking my way, I need to maybe, instead of offering this bond at the full price of $800,000, maybe I offer it for maybe 790,000. right? So with that in mind, maybe now investors will begin to look this way, right? They're like, oh, I can save $10,000 and have an interest rate, right? Or a decent interest rate. And so then therefore, you have investors flocking toward your stock or excuse me, your bond now because you're offering it at a discount rate versus what the market has. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So with that, I want to transition to our next slide where we will be talking about whether or not a bond will sell at a discount, a premium, or face amount. Now, if the market rate, meaning DIM, right, the market, if the market rate of interest is greater than a contract rate, now don't forget the contract rate is what's on the bond indenture between you and the bondholder, right? That is from us, right? So if I could, for a second. So the market rate is DIM, what the market is doing. And then the contract rate is us as Amazon, right? Now, what's not in question is the value of the bond. We are all selling like maybe $1,000 bond in each scenario. But now what we're talking about is the interest rate, right? Between us versus the market. Now, if the market rate of interest is higher than the contract rate, meaning it's 10% while we're at 9%, right? Then therefore, when we're selling our bond, we have to offer it we have to sell it at a discount if we want our investors to invest in our particular bond. If the market rate of interest is 10% and our interest rate is 10%, then there will be no discount. Therefore, it will be sold at face value, which is the $1,000. Okay. And in the last scenario, if the market rate of interest is say 9%, and the contract rate of interest, which is us, we're at maybe, I don't know, 15%, then investors will see, oh my goodness, I can buy this particular bond. The interest rate is a lot higher. You're saying, hey, I'm willing to pay for this at a premium. So you're likely to get a lot more money for your particular bond than $1,000 you're asking for, because investors are very interested in your interest rate. Okay. So this is how we would determine if a bond is sold at a discount, premium, or face amount. Okay, so with that, I'm going to stop this video, and we are now going to travel to accounting